We have 5 senses to navigate this world: hearing, smell, taste, seeing, and touch. At this very moment, sight and hearing are most engaged because you are viewing and listening to this video. Both of them are utilized when communicating with others or gathering information from your environment, and we have used these two the most to survive dangerous situations. As technology progressed, we have learned to create sound, not always intentionally. And since recently, we're even able to carry sound with us, of course, mostly for pleasure purposes. But technology has a side effect, and that is noise. And we will get to that in a minute. But first, let's eliminate the visual for a second. We can still keep going. It's not as entertaining anymore, but you're able to acquire the necessary information, such as we will take a trip to Staten Island Forest. We will also go under the Verrazano bridge. Now, if I ask you to recall the two destinations, you will easily name them, even though there was no visual input. It's a good example of how important audio is, and this is what we're going to focus on in this video. Sound is vibration. Let's take a speaker here and oxygen or air outside of it, which is gas. When the speaker comes out or pushes out, it pushes on the molecules around it, the air molecules. Those air molecules push against the molecules next to them, and so on and so forth, creating a domino effect. That effect is called a wave. These waves can travel not just through air, but they can travel through solids and through water. And when they do travel through water, you can actually see it. Throwing a rock, it displaces a certain amount of water, creating that disturbance and causing the water molecules to push against the next molecule, so on and so forth. And that is how you can see sound. Fun fact: in the early 1870s, Alexander Graham Bell tried to create a more accurate sound recording device. Instead of an ordinary horn and diaphragm, he actually tried using the ear, part of the skull, and the internal hearing-related parts of a cadaver. Murray Schafer mentions that world noise pollution has now become a problem. Thankfully, we have learned to ignore noises. So let's say if I was to have a conversation with someone, I will be completely focused on that conversation. We have also learned to block out the noises we don't want to hear by either putting headphones or creating a separation. Interesting thing about sound is that when it is created in one medium, it will not travel into another. So for example, Verrazano bridge was making a lot of noise because the cars were going over it, but all of that noise was being made in the air. Now, right now we're underground, so there's a good layer of earth above us, which is blocking that sound. So the sound was created in the air, which is gas, but it is not going to transmit into the ground or through it. Thus, we're not hearing the noise from the cars from the Verrazano Narrows Bridge right now. Technology has created a vehicle. We have created roads for the vehicle. And maybe later on, we will create cars that float, and maybe they will not make as much engine noise, and there will be no tire contact. But that's in a very long future, right? But just imagine, as technology improves, the noise will actually decrease. From the text The Auroral Walk by Ian Chambers. Sony Walkman launched on the world in the spring of 1980. With rapid improvement in technology, we now have a Walkman, telephone, camera, and internet browser all in one portable device. Chambers says that combining this device with headphones will give you an ability of imposing your soundscape on the surrounding aural environment and thereby domesticating external world. Fun fact, according to Jonathan Stern in Sonic Imaginations, over 5.3 billion mobile phones now in use. In the text Sonic Composition of the City, Jean Paul says that one can protect himself from the sonic aggressions, things like conversations, bells ringing, children scream, traffic noise. Let's see if it really works. In the recent decades, we started playing around with sound, making it sound better than what it originally did sound. And in the text, Capturing Sound by Mark Katz, he says, since the introduction of magnetic tape in the late 1940s and digital recording in the late 1970s, it has been possible to offer the illusion of a traditional performance as well as to create performances that could have never existed before. Mark mentioned some techniques that we use to edit sound. He says splicing is a technique where passages recorded at different times are joined together. Also, overdubbing, in which recordings made at different times are combined. Different times, different location, just like this whole video. Another manipulation technique, stereo field, which means that we hear sounds from the directions of where they are coming from. So let's say if I snap my right fingers, you will hear it from the left side, and if I snap my left finger, you will hear the sound coming from the right, and that gives you a immersive experience. And finally, Mark says that a more recent development in sound manipulation goes under the general heading of digital signal processing. We can manipulate sound in such a way that my voice would sound completely different. It's very deep or
high-pitched.
And that completely changes how I sound in real life and on the recording.
With all these advancements and editing techniques, let's not forget why sound is important and why do we need it in the first place. Is sound important? In the text, The Art of Noises, Futuristic Manifesto, Luigi Russolo says, among primitive peoples, sound was attributed to the gods. In the text, The Music of the Environment, Murray Schafer says, before the Renaissance, God had been conceived as sound or vibration. Do we need sound? Murray Schafer says, when man was fearful of the dangers of an unexplored environment, the whole body was an ear. In the virgin forest of North America, where vision was restricted to a few feet, hearing was the most important sense. When you enter an environment where there are birds, insects or animals, they are listening to you completely. You are received. Your presence may be the difference between life and death for the creatures of the environment. Listening is survival. We need sound for survival, just like all other animals on the planet. Whether you're in the city crossing the street or at night in the forest. What was that? Let's get out of here.
Do you know how electricity sounds when it touches something that it's not supposed to touch?
To wrap things up, I decided to ask a real musician what his opinion is on sound.
You're a musician?
I am a musician.
Alright, what instruments do you play?
I play the piano and I play the bass guitar and the drums.
And you would say that music is a very important part of, let's say, when you're watching a movie or you're in a restaurant or a place.
Oh yeah, I mean music, I can't really imagine what life would be like without music. I think that it's such an integral part of everything we do, if we realize it or not. Like sound and music are like our companions in life, you know. And there's just not a way we could have them without each other. Like I can't imagine watching a movie without that dramatic, you know, the strings in the background, or whether it's a song in the background they use during the movie, or I mean, unless it's a silent film, of course, but like. Or even though, like you said, if you're every day, if you're in a store, they play music. If you are at a baseball game, they play music. Everything has some sort of component that music is part of. So I think it's super important.
You found out a lot of things about audio in this video. Sound, why we use it, why we need it, how important it is. And thank you. Thank you guys for watching. Until next time.